This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
It's one of those days where it's not easy, I got to tell you. And I was telling Bill when he got here that on the sports side, there's just not a lot to talk about, right? And there is some good news actually on the sports side to talk about, but there's so much other things going on affecting our world, And we're in the middle of a pandemic, and now we've got this crisis going on. But it's a crisis that's been going on for decades and for maybe a couple hundred years. And the one thing that you start to get, I think, and again, I talked about this on Thursday or Friday, I think it was, that video has really helped us out in exposing all of these people. And one of the beautiful things that has developed from all this tragedy, all this hate, the death, the injuries, the lifelong pain that has developed from all of this. The beautiful thing, if I can put it that way, and I know it's kind of, I'm walking a fine line trying to find the positive in all of this. I just wish we didn't have to develop these positives, because I wish this actually didn't exist, this kind of hate. But it's not just electronic and exposing this to everybody. But it was really cool. And look, I'm not talking about the rioters or the looters or all those people, and I will address that in a minute. But I think overall, when you see how many people that are protesting that are not black. In fact, I would argue that more white people are protesting than black people. Okay? I'm pretty sure that's actually accurate. If you start to put together all the cities, and I just see all the hands up in the air and the faces, and it's because of the video, people no longer can lean on he said, she said, he said, whatever kind of crime it is, right? And I think what people are now, they're at a point where they have reached their boiling point. Okay, the black community reached their boiling point years ago, decades ago. Okay, they have not trusted the police in forever, and that's why we have these issues. The problem is nobody has stood next to the black community. And now people are standing next to the black community. Finally, people are disgusted, because that's just not the way you act. It's not the way you treat any human being. My Lord, George Floyd was being held for a counterfeit $20 bill. Does that guy look to you like he's some guy that's printing millions of dollars? No. And you treated him like, if that was Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't think anybody would have complained that he died. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't a black thing. It wasn't a white thing. It wasn't a Puerto Rican thing. It wasn't a Jamaican thing. It wasn't an Asian thing. It wasn't anything. It was just Jeffrey Dahmer is evil. Killed all kinds of people and ate them. So if you killed them, it's like when they killed him in jail. Everybody, I remember nobody reacted like they were disgusted. They were like, all right, well, they did the job for us. They saved us a lot of tax money. That's basically what people were saying, because nobody felt bad for Jeffrey Dahmer. But anybody that's a human being feels terrible for George Floyd and his family. And then followed up by all the other incidents that have gone on. Whether it's been death with Brianna, whether it's been the 3 young men in the Minnesota gym, whether it's the bird watcher in New York. So all of these things came to a head, and finally America kind of said, what the hell is going on here? Enough's enough already. Like, we're watching it. Aren't you? And the problem is, and we talked about this on Thursday or Friday, whatever it was, we lean on authority and we expect them to do their job. Well, they're not. And I think also, finally, because of all this video, because of the disgust, because of the reaction, I think finally we're getting some people in blue to go along with what I was talking about last week. This is up to the good cops, man. We have to lean on the good cops to not only do their jobs on the street, but in their homes. And I'm not talking about literally their homes. I'm talking about their precincts are their homes. And they need to weed out the Derek Chauvins of the world. And that's the one thing that I see out of all of this, is that I think the disgust from everybody has finally reached a boiling point. And that's really what the black community had to have. Because if the black community is going to only fight by themselves, guess what's going to happen? Right? I mean, you see it with the gay community when they're fighting by themselves. You see it when women are fighting by themselves. We're still stepping all over women. We're still sexually, miscreants. We're still chauvinist. We're still doing all that stuff. We still mistreat the gay community. It doesn't matter how many times. But if we stand next to the gay community, if we stand next to the women, if we stand next to the black community, then they can't take us down. Now they got to listen to us. Now they got to make changes. And the other thing is, you got to vote. Folks, you got to vote. You've got to vote the right people into office. From district attorneys to mayors to governors to councilmen, senators, we've got to get the right people in there that care about human beings, period. And so we have to make sure that there are no more sacrifices anymore being made, because that's what's happened to George Floyd and everybody else. They have been the sacrifices to try to expose hate. And it's still there on display throughout the weekend. 2 officers in Atlanta were fired because they were using excessive force on 2 college students. I mean, the extremes they went to get those kids out of that car was disgusting. And so that's really where we're at. We're at a point now, we're at a boiling point for the country, not just one race, okay? The black community was outraged years ago. Finally, the rest of us have caught up. Keep those cameras going, folks. Keep exposing them. That's the most important part. Okay? That's the most important part. We must keep every camera going, because we need to catch the next guy, the next woman, the next person abusing authority in whatever shape or form. Okay? That has been the bridge that has gotten us to this point now. So let's not let the protesting go by the wayside. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we've only taken one step right now. We're not even close to the finish line. Charging Chauvin with third-degree murder and manslaughter is a start. finding him guilty of murder, that is the victory. Okay? That's what needs to happen. It's nice that he's in jail. It's nice that he's been charged with third-degree murder. It's nice that he's been charged with manslaughter. But that doesn't solve the issue, and that doesn't set the example. Because the example is plenty of policemen have been charged, but they're not convicted. So let's, that's the other thing that I'm
follow through, man.
I gotta
follow through, right?
I gotta temper here. Okay, you got him off the street, you charged him. That's nice. You don't get an attaboy for doing. Remember, we've had this conversation before. People want credit for doing their jobs, or people want credit for being a parent, or being a boss, or being a friend. No, there are things you're supposed to do that are normal. You're not supposed to get any brownie points for any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay? We don't do that here. You don't get credit for what you're supposed to do. And you took too long to charge him. You finally charged him, and now you got him behind bars. Now let's see what you can do. That's the real job, is charging him and convicting him. When you convict him, then I know we're really making progress. Okay? And I'm still waiting on Tao Thao, Thomas Lane, and J. Alexander Kuhn, who are the other 3 officers that have not been charged. So while you hit on 1, you have failed on 3.